Hey love, it's Magda K. Welcome back. So today I want to talk about conflict and guide you through 7 steps that can make this easier. So see, one thing that's really important to understand is that conflict is a natural part of healthy, happy, passionate relationships. So it doesn't mean that you're in a good relationship if you have no conflict. What it may actually mean is that you are not expressing your needs or you don't have your boundaries clearly set up. So having conflict, it's okay, but it's how we manage the conflict that determines whether our relationship will be successful or not. So I want to share with you 7 tips that can help you navigate through these challenging times and make sure that at the end you always come back to each other. The first thing is close the container. So very often when we get into the argument, we get super emotional and triggered and we end up throwing comments like, well, maybe this relationship isn't for you, or, well, why don't you go and just be single again? So what we do is we actually threaten the existence of a relationship. So what you want to do is the opposite. You want to close the possible exits for the time being, so that you know for sure that while you're arguing, this is not about breaking up or not. It's about the specific problem, solving the problem. So then any possible discussion about breaking up, you want to leave it until later. So the general rule is, when you're arguing, do not bring up anything regarding the breakup. Number 2, make your partner your teammate. See, too often when we enter conflict, our mindset switches to a win-lose scenario. So we think that the only way to have our needs met is by having our partner lose. And so they become the enemy. I want you to recognize that really the best way to approach conflict is within a relationship. So you're in it together. Your goal is to find a solution that takes care of both of you. Now think about it. If this was something coming from your partner, wouldn't you want them to do that to you? Wouldn't you want them to include you? Well, do the same for them when it's you who's being triggered. Number 3, focus on the problem. So this is something that my dad would say all the time. So anytime something came up in our family, any form of an argument, like we could spend hours just diving into all the details. Well, you said that, you did that. And my dad was like, cut to the chase. What is the problem? Don't focus on everything around it. Your focus should be the problem and more specifically, solving that problem. So always come into every conflict with the mindset that the intention behind everything now is not to go deeper into the conflict, but to solve it. So separate the information that will help you move through it from the information that only puts you deeper and deeper into that emotion of a conflict. Now, that also means that you have to be willing to forgive. You know, oftentimes conflict is about something that our partner did or didn't do and they kind of should. So you have to be willing to forget and forgive. Number 4, and that's a huge one. Focus on the need. So see, when there is a conflict, it's a sign that your needs or one of them is not being met, that your boundary has been pushed. So conflict shows you where there is imbalance in the relationship. Now, too often we, again, don't focus on the problem, but on what's on the surface. And through trying to deal with the conflict, we never actually solve the root cause. So let me give you an example. Let's say a wife is really triggered with her husband because he spends a lot of money on gadgets. So now the conversation is about this. Stop spending all the money on those useless gadgets. Now he buys them for his reasons. Now, none of them is addressing the need. So let's look at the wife. What could be the reason that it's an issue for her that he buys gadgets? Well, maybe she is thinking that, well, he can spend all of this money on these little things, but what about me? Why isn't he spending money on me? So maybe that makes her feel like she's not important. So now the need that she has to feel important and valued by her partner is not met. Again, it's not about the gadgets, it's about her feeling important and valued. Now, there may be another reason. Maybe she's afraid that if he spends all of this money on gadgets, then they don't have a lot of savings, and when something happens, they don't have financial stability to go through possible problem in the future. So here the need is for security, which may be threatened by him buying the gadgets. But as you can see, it's not about the gadgets. So try to go deeper. Anytime there is conflict, go deeper and really try to understand what is this conflict really about. Number 5, don't forget about intimacy and fun. So look, some conflicts are small, solved like this. Now other conflicts may actually last a few days, maybe even a few weeks. So it's very easy to get sucked into the energy of conflict and forget about all the good things that you share with each other. You know, what about physical intimacy, lovemaking, eye gazing, just laughing together? So when you're angry, you're like just angry all the time at your partner, and what happens is that it's very easy to forget, why are you even dealing with this? You know, it's like if something big came up, you need to be reminded of the reasons why you are with your partner, why you want to stay together. What's the motivation for solving this conflict? Because if you're not giving yourself reasons to stay in a relationship, it's very easy to indeed end up breaking up over this. So please don't forget to keep some intimacy and fun while you're solving this conflict. Now that takes me to the next point, and it's to set specific time when you discuss those conflicts. Now this is mostly important for those conflicts, like I mentioned, that really last a few days, just something way more deep and complex to solve fast. So you know you will need to really sit down to this a couple of times. So it's really good to set, for example, we talk about it on Sundays, like we're gonna have 1 hour or 2 hours on Sunday and we'll talk about it. That means that until Sunday, the conflict is out of our heads. We're acting as if that conflict wasn't our reality. Or maybe you can decide that every day you spend half an hour discussing this thing, but no more. So when you compartmentalize your conflict with the rest of your relationship, it really helps to make sure that you have this time for intimacy and fun, even if you're dealing with something important. And the last one, number 7. Sometimes it's really good to get help. You know, no one triggers us the way our intimate partner does. If someone else points one of your patterns, one of your behaviors, you may listen, you may not, but it usually doesn't trigger you as much. Now, when it's your partner, someone who, to your mind, is the most important person in your life, it's not so easy to receive criticism from them. It's not so easy to listen to their advice because you feel that, oh my God, my partner doesn't accept me as I am. Does it mean they will leave me? So there's all of those extra triggers that happen when we try to solve conflicts just between the two of us because of the specificity of the relationship that we have with our partner. So having a neutral person, a mentor, a coach, or a therapist can actually be extremely helpful. It's just something about that position that when that person gives you advice, somehow you listen and you follow through. It's like happened to me hundreds of times in all of my previous relationships when I would give advice to my partner, he wouldn't listen, but when someone else said the same thing, suddenly he's like, oh, that is so smart. Now, I did the same thing to them. So really reaching out to someone else who's like neutral to both of you can be super helpful. It also helps both of you to feel that you count in this conflict, that your needs and what you consider important to you, that it matters. So in that situation, when you have an objective mentor, both of you will feel that, okay, I will be listened to. This person takes care of me just as much as they're taking care of my partner. I get to express myself. You know, how often do you try to say something and then your partner just shuts you down and goes into the conversation with their own arguments, and you're just like, I never get a chance to fully express myself. So really, oftentimes just getting a few sessions with a coach or a mentor can be a huge help. It speeds the process up. And we really need to release this idea that only broken people go to see a mentor or a coach, that you have to be really sick to see a therapist. Like what these people do is help you get a different perspective on what's happening and helping you get space to express yourself and ask for what you need. So these are the 7 ways how you can go through conflict in a more loving and harmonious way. Because at the end of the day, it really is about coming back together, coming back into your heart, and reconnecting with your partner intimately. And I honestly have to say, to me, our skills to manage the conflict, it's one of the top skills that you have to have if you want to have a long-lasting, happy relationship. So I hope that was helpful, and if it was, please like this video, share it with your friends, share it on Facebook, comment, let me know what you thought about it, and also share some of your personal ideas how you approach conflict. Now, if you would like to stay more in touch and check my personal updates, see the links below this video to my Facebook, Instagram, and everything else where you get to see what I'm doing on a daily basis, get more tips. I would just absolutely love to have you, connect with you, get your thoughts, get your feedback, because I do these videos for you. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you soon. Mwah.